On July 20th, 1944, Adolf Hitler survived a sophisticated assassination attempt perpetrated by a group of high-ranking German military officers and politicians. 64 years later, the film Valkyrie, depicting the conspirators' motives, planning, and attempted coup, was released. The filmmakers paid very close attention to the details of the plot and the follow-through, but still fell short on several aspects of the facts. But by how much? How accurate is Valkyrie? Before we get into the film, let me first apologize for my German pronunciations. The film opens on the inner monologue of German Colonel Klaus Philipp Maria Schenk Graf von Stauffenberg, whose full name is never used in the film, as he lists out his thoughts and reasonings for why Adolf Hitler must die for Germany to survive. While we have a pretty good idea of what Stauffenberg's motives were, the movie seems to gloss over how these ideas were formed over years of military service, and doesn't mention that he did support some of the Nazis' actions, such as using Polish prisoners as a slave workforce. He also says that he has been unable to find a single general with the courage to stand up to Hitler. Stauffenberg had already been approached as early as 1939 to join the resistance and would have been well aware of their existence. After a brief battle scene where Stauffenberg is injured, which would permanently put him out of field duty, the movie shifts to General Trescow's failed attempt to assassinate Hitler by placing a bomb on his plane on March 13, 1943. The events of the attempt are reasonably accurate, but make it appear closer to success than it actually was. However, the conversation between Treschow and Ulbricht after they recover the bomb makes it seem as though that was their last attempt until the July 20th, 1944 attempt, when really there was another attempt made just a week later that was arguably even closer. In fact, there were many subsequent attempts made by this group and others over the next year, and even several by Stauffenberg himself. After Stauffenberg has recovered from his injuries, he is introduced to the resistance by General Ulbricht, where he clashes with them on their inaction in the face of repeated failures, specifically on their plan for Germany after Hitler is dead. He is, however, persuaded by Treschow to remain with the group, and later that night, while his children play Richard Wagner's Ride of the Valkyries, he gets the idea of using Operation Valkyrie to secure Germany after Hitler's death. This is probably the largest deviation from history, as it was actually Treschow who conceived using Valkyrie to take control, and it was his personal secretary and wife who typed up the physical orders. Stauffenberg only took charge of it because Treschow was unexpectedly ordered to the Eastern Front. Furthermore, the film has Stauffenberg travel to Hitler's residence, the Berghof, where he signs the new Valkyrie orders, setting the plan in motion. The orders were actually changed and approved over the course of several weeks, and not all at once. After finalizing the plan, Stauffenberg embarks on the first attempt at the Wolf's Lair, only to pause at the last minute due to Himmler not being present at the meeting, and then missing his chance completely when Hitler leaves early. This attempt was actually made at the Berghof, not the Wolf's Lair. The filmmakers changed the location to familiarize the audience with the Wolf's Lair for later in the film. And the depiction in the film combines two different attempts made by Stauffenberg. The first was aborted because Himmler was not present, and the second because Hitler left the meeting early. Following the failed attempt, Gordeler is informed that the Gestapo are looking for him, and that he must flee Berlin, and it is decided that the next chance they get at Hitler must be taken, no matter what. Really, Gordeler went into hiding in Berlin, and only left the city after the failed July 20th attempt, and the main reason for the plotters escalating their plan was the rumor that the Gestapo had discovered and were closing in on the whole conspiracy, not just one man. Stauffenberg's actions at the Wolf Lair on the 20th are incredibly accurate considering it being a movie, even down to the positioning of the officers in the conference room at the time of the blast. The situation that took place in Berlin afterwards is a little less true. While all the major events are accurate, it is the pacing and the framing that is very misleading, implying that the coup was much closer to success than it actually was. The plotters in the film advance through their plan with progress at every turn, only to have it fall apart towards the end. It shows their troops moving around Berlin, capturing various important buildings and people until their commander is personally ordered by Hitler to arrest Stauffenberg. And while all that is true, the film leaves out that from the very beginning there was very little chance of success, even if Hitler had been killed. As the situation starts to go downhill, many of the conspirators depart, and the ringleaders are captured and quickly court-martialed by General Fromm, probably to hide his knowledge of the plot, even though he personally never took action in it. However, the former General Beck is given a pistol to kill himself instead. Fromm presumably allowed this to keep Beck from talking, as he was a civilian and out of Fromm's control. However, in real life, Beck only seriously wounded himself, forcing Fromm to order a soldier to finish him off anyways. The remaining military officers are taken outside and less than an hour into the next day executed under Fromm's orders and against Hitler's command that they be kept alive. In their execution scene, Lieutenant Hefton steps in front of Stauffenberg to take the bullets for him. While there are eyewitness accounts supporting this, there has been some doubt raised because the bullets could have very well killed Stauffenberg also. The scene is also spliced with a montage of various conspirators and the dates they were executed. While all the dates are correct, it is left out that over 7,000 people were arrested and almost 5,000 of them were executed, and at least one of the conspirators, rather than being executed, was tortured to death instead. We're not going to get into any of the details, but it might be worth noting that this was filmed so that Hitler could watch it later at his leisure. He really was an evil person. Overall, the film left out several persons and events to make it fit a better narrative, but what they included was uncommonly true to fact for a Hollywood movie. And we really only went over the events in the film and not what they left out. We didn't go over the highly complicated motives for the coup, we didn't cover much of the action that took place outside of Berlin during the attempt, and, like the film, didn't mention Stauffenberg's family members who were also part of the coup, like his brother Berthold von Stauffenberg and his uncle, whose name looks like this. Should we have? What else do you think we should have mentioned? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.